Hello, YouTube. Let's do a rum review. Okay, so this is something that my darling wife brought me for Christmas, along with a whole bunch of other stuff, because I'm not sure why, but she loves me very, very much. So this is Rhum Barbancourt 15. A while back, I was a huge fan of the Barbancourt 8-year-old. I thought it was just wonderfully different from everything else kind of on the market, and they bottled it at slightly higher strength. Thing with this actually. I had another bottle of the 8 a couple of years ago, which made me less pleased. I found it a little thin, a little rough. Uh, but we thought it would be fun to go with the 15, which actually back in the day I didn't like very much. I found it a little bit too woody. Uh, so we're gonna try it now. Okay, quick. I've already poured myself a glass. I'm gonna add some water to this. Talk just a little bit while while we get this going. So first of all, tablecloth, no Christmas tree, that's gone. And we have new rugs because our neighbor was yelling at us for our toddler making too much noise. So I guess the rugs are supposed to stop her from like, you know, stomping around like toddlers do. Anyways, we'll see how that works. Anyways, Barbancourt, absolutely classic rum. Uh, uh, Made in Haiti. Of course, the Haitians had been making rum far before Dupre Barbancourt showed up with his cognac style stills to start doing it his own way. But they did sort of establish particular cognac-y kind of character to and reputation for Haitian style rum. Of course, now we have with clarins coming in, doing things entirely differently. And one of the results of that is, so years ago, Barbancourt switched to using entirely column stills. So they ripped out all the old pot stills, sort of cognac style stills. And now I'm going to link to an interview in the Daily Beast down there, where the master distiller, I believe she is, mentions they're going to try to bring the cognac style stills, the Charente stills, back into operation, which makes me so very, very, very happy. It'll be another 15 years before we see them, you know, that distillate come in on this bottling, but you know, it's good news because I've talked before about how much even a little bit of pot distillate adds to rum's character. Anyways, let's get into this guy. I should have had a chance to open up. 15-year-old, probably bottled in 2020. 43% alcohol. That helps. That's a little bit higher than normal. This is priced at the moment at around $60 in Chicago, around 50 in the rest of the country, depending on where you're getting it. That's more expensive than it used to be for reasons. It does come in this absolutely gorgeous box, though. I mean, look at that. That is fantastic. The clarins have kind of matched this, but it's still just a terrific design. Also, screw top. I love screw tops. It sort of reminds me of old Scotch blends, and we'll get into that as the rum also reminds me of old Scotch blends. Let's get some notes on the table, shall we? All right. So take a very sort of a cake that's sort of very buttery. I'm actually stealing this tasting note from my wife. Just, you know, a cake where you use twice as much butter for fun, like, but then cover that in gunpowder. That's kind of what you're getting on this. Like, part of the character of Barbancourt isn't just the fact they're using cane juice rather than molasses to make the stuff. That's actually more common than you would think. What's really driving this is the use of French oak in the aging, right? So you're not getting so much the you know, the sort of custard and brioche stuff that you get with stuff aged in American oak and particularly ex-bourbon casks. This is, you know, pepper, dried fruit, coffee, that kind of stuff. But it's really on gunpowder and sort of that peppery thing, more so than the dried fruit. There's some like chocolate orange, you know, those things where you have to sort of smacking against a table in order to sort of get the things to break up. There's a little bit of that, like the dark chocolate version. There's some coffee grinds coming through, like Vienna roast coffee grinds. Um, it's very grassy. There's a certain dried, grassy note to this, which is very pleasant. Um, and Lakeland's tobacco. This is like a in pipe tobacco. There's a particular region in Britain called the Lakelands, I think it is, where they bring in particularly African tobaccos, which are strong as hell. I mean, it's terrific, but it'll knock you on your ass, and it smells like Barbancourt 15, frankly. So, I mean, if you're a pipe smoker, get you some of that. It's just just a like fresh rubber, kind of a chimney soot thing, your chim tree. A little bit of that. Um, a little bit of old banana peel, like one you left out for like 2 days, and it's starting to stink a little bit, but nice. It smells very columny. This smells like column distillate, but it's just got tons of character from it, uh, from the cane juice they're working with, and from just the French oak in particular just makes this so different from the standard sort of column distillate that you get in, I don't know, most of the Caribbean, South America, all those spots. There's a little bit of pu'er tea too. I mean, it's a very sort of, for lack of a better term, classical nose. It smells very. Um, it doesn't smell sweet and fruity and explosive. It smells just like it's just reserved. It's just going to do its thing. It's just going to do its sort of old man smoking Lakeland's tobacco kind of thing, and that's great. I love that. On the palate. Mm, yeah. Oh, yeah. That extra 3% really, really helps here. I did add a drop of water, but it doesn't need proofing down. That was just to open it up a little bit. Um, yeah, 3%. Just if they bottled this at 40, it would not be kicking as much as it is. Really kind of follows from the nose. We're still on sort of, gunpowder, the rubbery thing, and the dried grass thing, some banana, but then that sort of cakey note, and that's sort of very confectionery, not even confectionery, just like really good butter, something like that. Kind of banana, yeah. Maybe like fried banana, but throw a little stone fruit in there too, like a nectarine. Um, that that peppery note, white pepper. It's kind of just an old wood kind of pleasant thing, like licking old furniture, but it's nice. A little pencil dust, like you're in second grade and you open the pencil sharpener and you just throw it all up in the air for fun. Um, a little orangey, little Grand Marnier. Um, Something about this reminds me of old Riojas. I'm not sure if that'll make sense to anyone except like wine nerds, but like Faustino one or something. One of those Riojas they've held back for like 10 or 15 years, and it's just getting like it's kind of a black tea note, but it's not really black tea. It's like a fruity black tea woody kind of thing. I'm not even gonna try. It reminds me of old Riojas for some reason, and it really reminds me. Hang on. Yeah, what this really reminds me in lots of ways is like old school blended Scotch, frankly, or even just not even Scotch. Think like Powers Irish, but like old. Um, I mean, it's the calm distilled nature of this is coming through. It is a little bit thin, um, a little bit light, but I mean, it's a couple of years ago, back when you could still buy little miniatures of stuff on eBay. I did grab some old blended whiskeys, and this kind of reminds me of those little, nothing really old, just like maybe back from the 80s and 90s. But this reminds me of a little bit of that sort of old school, Ballantines, teachers. I didn't get a Powers, but I can imagine like this is in Powers territory. Um, it just feels very old school. It's not coming out and punching me in the face with big, huge flavors. It's just very pleasant, very dry, light on its. It's not, you know, um, it's not pushing itself on me in any way. It's just pleasant to drink. After a. This feels like a fantastic digestif or something. Again, think pipe tobaccos and smoking jackets and that kind of thing. That's what you got here. This is very old school. Now I'm not going to score it out of the park because I think it's good. I'm not going to get crazy. I think this is an 83 plus point rum. Um, Now it's also just now, but hang on. If you're objecting to a score that seems kind of low. I mean, for 50 to 60 bucks for a 15-year-old product, um, tropically aged. I still think this is actually pretty good value, even though it's sort of playing in that same value play that you get some of those old um, French spirits like old Calvados. Old Mar. I did a Mar thing, where it's not. There's something about the sheer force of age gives this a little more charm beyond its actual quantifiable quality. I mean, there's lots of younger rums that will beat the crap out of this, but I mean, it's just lovely to drink. It's not forcing me to think too hard. I'm just liking it. And again, I mean, the cane juice and the French oak just makes this a different character from what you get in most of the rest of the rum aisle. So yeah, 83 plus out of 100. I like it. Not a screaming value, but definitely one to keep in mind. So thanks for watching, and cheers.